Hi all, sharing a little technique with you today called emotional stress release, which is really good for any time that you're feeling like overwhelmed with any kind of upset, stress, shock, anxiety, anything where you're feeling a bit overwhelmed and your minds can't cope. When we feel like that, we go into fight or flight syndrome, which means our body's like flooded with adrenaline. And thousands of years ago, when we lived in caves, we would have really relied on this, because if there was a perceived threat like a predator, then we would have needed this adrenaline to flood our arms and legs with blood so that we could either fight or flee. Our bodies react in the same way today, but obviously we don't need to flee from predators. However, we will still be flooded with adrenaline. And all the blood will go to our arms and our legs, and it will also flow to the back part of the brain. So a really simple technique when you're feeling very overwhelmed or stressed or upset, or if you're with somebody who's very, very emotional, you can use this technique just to calm them down. It's very simple. So we have neurovascular points here we have them all over the head, but we have two here. Just in between the eyebrows and the hairline, you'll feel like little ridges. If you place your fingers there and just lightly lift the skin up, what that will do is encourage blood flow to the front part of the brain. This is where we have all our clear thinking, our problem solving, our calmer, rational thoughts. So when we're in a very emotional state, we are relying on the back part of the brain, which is being flooded with blood and the hormone adrenaline. We've got a lot of our learned behaviours in the back part of the brain. So this would explain why people, when faced with certain situations where they feel a bit fearful, they react in the same way, because they've got these learned behaviours throughout their lives which are stored there. And this is why they get triggered when somebody is in an emotional state. Now, if you bring the blood to the front of the brain, what will happen is that person will find that they calm down, they'll start thinking more rationally. If they're talking about the problem, they'll probably come up with their own solution as well, because the front part of the brain's been activated by fresh blood, and suddenly they can sort of see things in a lot of a clearer state and come up with their own solution. So it's really great, something we can do ourselves. We do it instinctively anyway when we're feeling emotional. If you see someone that's had a shock or something happened, then normally we'll go put our hands on our forehead. So it's something that we do very instinctively, but we can do it consciously as well. I've been using it quite a lot because I'm expecting my second baby, and even though I had an amazing positive birth with my first son, I still feel a little bit more anxious this time around. I've been using all my hypnobirthing techniques and positive affirmations, but when I find that anxiety and worry and what if, I just simply do this, and I just think about how lovely my first birth was and think positively about it, and it just calms me right down. So this is something that you can do on yourself, and it's also something you can do on your children. If they're very emotional too, you can just put your hand on their forehead and it will calm them down.